Hey guys, it's Final Master. No, no, no. This is Ryan. Just Ryan. And today I'm going to talk about an action RPG that's ahead of its competitors at the time. This is Alcahest.
Released by Squaresoft and developed by HAL Laboratory in 1993, the game starts out spinning a yarn about a swordsman who used the power of 4 guardians to seal a demon called Alcahest 1,000 years ago. Switch to the present, and you witness a guy being hunted by some lizardmen who's under the command of Babylon, who is meant to be some evil guy from hell, and he serves as your main antagonist in the game, but I think he's actually Demon King Piccolo from Dragon Ball. So it appears as though your protagonist meets his maker, but he manages to survive thanks to a miracle. You play as Alan, a hero chosen by the Guardians to destroy the evil Babylon and prevent Alcahest from reviving. Alan wields a special sword that uses the power of 4 Guardians you find throughout the game. This game, at its core, is a top-down action RPG. Now, you'll hear this being compared a lot to Illusion of Gaia from other people, but it is a pretty accurate overview of the gameplay. You get to run around swinging your sword at enemies, getting power-ups and better equipment so you can take on the next challenge ahead. Each Guardian will grant you unique abilities in order to progress through each level. You also come across some party members to help you out while in a dungeon. The game is set up so that you will encounter at least one partner every level. Usually they turn up at a key plot point, then accompany you until the end of the act. They all have their own useful abilities like homing fireballs or healing magic, and every one of them has a distinct look and personality. I mean, you get a cyborg to fight alongside with in the game. How badass is that? Each act will become progressively more difficult, and the enemies will be much easier to defeat if you know how to use your powers effectively. Now, I've heard people compare this to The Legend of Zelda and Secret of Mana on top of Illusion of Gaia across the internet, but I'm not so sure about that. I'll grant them it is like an Illusion of Gaia, and from what I've played of Secret of Mana, sure, but Zelda? I guess it's a bit like Zelda, a very linear Zelda. It is not an open world game, and the paths ahead of you only have a couple of nooks and crannies. There are also puzzle solving elements, key items to grab that are necessary to progress, and you do face off against quite a few bosses, but I wouldn't really say it's Zelda to the extent that people claim. One problem I have with this game is the difficulty is weird. It seems like before you get any party member to help you out during a level, you get your ass handed to you, but as soon as they join your side, every enemy, excluding bosses, doesn't stand a chance. The life system is also odd. You start out with 5, and in order to gain more, your score has to hit a certain number. The kicker is the more lives you have is in proportion to how much grinding you have to do in order to gain just 1 life. So if you continuously die, you'll be subject to waste minutes just trying to grind up enough score to survive the next boss. Or if you're just a god of gaming, I guess it won't matter that much. Another thing is it's easy to get stuck on objects or walls when trying to navigate through a level. Although that may be partly my fault as I'm using a PlayStation controller to play the game, or maybe Iwata is haunting me for not using the right controller on his game. That's right, the late president and CEO of Nintendo worked on Alcahest. While working for HAL Laboratory, he produced some other more notable games at the time, like Super Smash Bros. And Kirby Superstar. So no wonder this was fan-translated, it was just too good to overlook. The graphics, sound, and overall gameplay are all solid. You will enjoy yourself as you kick all kinds of ass the 8 levels this game offers. So with the game living up to all of its competitors at the time, one question remains. Why did it never leave Japan?
I'm not exactly sure how Alcahest never came to the West, but I do have a couple of things to say regarding its sales. Now, I tried looking online, but I couldn't really find any solid numbers about Alcahest in terms of sales. But I would guard a guess that it was probably overshadowed by a couple other games at the time, like Romancing Saga 2 and Illusion of Gaia. I mean, hell, Illusion of Gaia came out about 2 weeks before in Japan, and that sold well enough. Another thing is that Square probably didn't want to endorse this game as much as their other titles. I mean, Romancing Saga 2 sold over 1 million units, but it had a lot more promotion behind it because it was a mainland series. So that might have been another reason why it never came to the West. So basically poor numbers, not enough marketing. That's probably the only thing I could imagine why. It is a shame though, because I think this would have been a great game in the West.
Before I end off the video, I wanted to address who's responsible for this review. Now, this translation has been available for quite a while as it came out back in 2002, but I feel it's necessary to give credit where it's due. The actual developer and publisher deserve all the praise in the world, of course, yet without these guys, I probably would have never checked this game out. Sure, the translation isn't without a few flaws, but I do wish these guys were translating some other games at the time. Special thanks to Akujin, David Mullen, Dark Force, and FH for all of your hard work. So after looking a bit more on the internet, I came across an old article where FH was actually interviewed. I thought it was kind of neat to see someone properly recognized for their efforts. In the interview, FH is asked about himself and the struggles of translating an entire game with limited resources. It's also mentioned a couple other games he's translated. At the end of the interview, one final question was asked. What gave you and what continues to give you the will and enthusiasm to keep you going with translation projects? Do you have a personal goal or mission? I guess because there is an enjoyment in it for me, plus working with people who share the same goal of seeing these games translated, and it's also the players and fans of these games that have kept us going with their support. They make it all worthwhile.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If by chance you have a Japanese game you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments below, or you can email me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.